Hello team players! Welcome back to my Halloween special, The Monster Mash. Today we're teaming up with 20-Sided Adventures to bring you some of the more spooky character options. And today I'm covering the ultimate monster ancestry, the Flesh Warp. If you want to play as any type of monster in Pathfinder 2nd Edition, this is the ancestry for you. So Flesh Warps start with 10 ancestry hit points and they're medium size. They also have a basic speed of 25 feet. For languages, they get common and additional languages equal to their intelligence modifier. As well, they get two special abilities. First is low light vision, which of course allows you to see in low light just as well as you can see in bright light. They also get the unusual anatomy ability, which gives them a bonus on saves against diseases and poisons. Now let's talk Flesh Warp heritages, starting with the created Flesh Warp. Created Flesh Warps don't need to eat, and they get even more of a bonus against diseases. The don't eat thing is really more of a roleplay option, but it is pretty cool. And diseases really aren't that common, but you'll be glad you have this when you need it. The mutated Flesh Warp heritage makes it easier to recover from persistent bleed damage. And this can be good, but really depends on how often you're running into that type of thing. Next we have the Shape Rot Flesh Warp heritage. This gives you resistance to mental damage, equal to half your level. Can be really good depending on how often you're running into mental damage. Could be a lot, could be a little bit. It really depends on what your GM throws at you. Next we have what is probably one of the better heritages in this ancestry, and that is the Technological Flesh Warp heritage. So against mental effects, successes become critical successes. Mental effects, especially fear effects, are extremely common. So you will use this a ton. Highly recommend this heritage. If you're a Cataphrax Flesh Warp, you get the armor proficiency feats. If your class already makes you trained in all armor, then you become trained in athletics and gain the armor assist feat. This heritage is really good for spellcasters, but armor proficiency can only make you up to an expert in the armor you're getting. So it isn't as good as if you got the armor from your class. Now we can talk about discarded Flesh Warps. Successes become critical successes on saves against transmutation effects. And transmutation effects are a lot more common than you think they are. So you will use this a ton as well. Highly recommend this one as well. And finally for heritages, we have the Surge-Wise Flesh Warp, which makes you train in occultism and gain the Oddity Identification feat. This can be good for certain classes, but really depends on what you're playing and what your team is. It's a pretty basic heritage if you think about it. This is the kind of thing you could get for a level 1 ancestry feats, or maybe even class feats. Now we can talk about level 1 feats, starting with Aberration Kinship. You can cast the Mind Link spell once per day as an innate spell. However, you can only cast it on aberrations. This feat would be great for psychics, but because you can only target aberrations with it, it's pretty situational. Honestly, you're not going to get much use out of this feat. I would not recommend this one. Next up is Deep Vision, which gives you dark vision. That's it, plain and simple. But dark vision can be extremely helpful in a lot of situations. I highly recommend this one. Next is Living Weapon. So you gain a Claws unarmed attack, as well as a Jaws, Horn, Tusk, or Tail unarmed attack. These are mutable, so you can take this feat and retrain this feat at any time. You can also change the type of unarmed attack you get from this. And you can take this feat multiple times as well. If you want to be a monster that has unarmed attacks, this is the feat you want to take. Moving on, we have Startling Appearance. You become trained in Intimidation and gain the Intimidating Glare skill feat. Intimidation is one of the best skills in this entire game. And getting it for free, plus one of the best skill feats for it, is pretty nuts. Highly recommend this one too. To take Embodied Legionnaire Subjectivity, you need to be a Cataphrax Flesh Warp. The GM may also require you to be from Nex. You become trained in Arcana and Athletics, or another skill if you're already trained in one of those. You also get training in Warfare Lore. It's a pretty basic feat. It's basically a lore feat from other ancestries. If you want to be trained in those particular skills, then take this. Otherwise, take something else. For level 5 feats, we're going to start with Embodied Dreadnought Subjectivity. You gain the Hefty Healer skill feat, but the maximum bulk increases by 3 instead of 2. This is really good for low strength characters like spellcasters, so they can carry more. But most high strength characters are not going to need this. Finned Ridges is a very situational feat that you won't use very much, and it's rather simple. You get a swim speed of 15 feet. If you're running into a lot of water, this could be good. Otherwise, you'll definitely want to take something else. We now have one of the best 5th level feats, in my opinion, for the Flesh Warp, and that is Gaping Flesh. Once per day, when a creature you are aware of damages you with a melee strike, you can make them succeed at a Fortitude save or become Sickened 1, Sickened 2 on a critical failure. And they can't recover from the condition as long as they're adjacent to you. This one is extremely good for spellcasters. It is only once per day. But Sickened is one of the best conditions in the entire game to inflict on enemies. Basically makes it harder to do anything. So if an enemy melee attacks you, this gives them an incentive to get away from you, since they have to move to get rid of it. Highly recommend this one as well. Then we have Mutate Weapon, which requires Living Weapon. For one action, the damage of one of your unarmed strikes from Living Weapon increases by 1 step. So 1d4 becomes 1d6, and so on and so forth. You can also choose to either give the weapon reach, or give yourself an attack bonus with that weapon. This lasts until the end of your turn. This just makes your unarmed attack better. And reach can be extremely powerful. And the attack bonus, well, if you don't need reach, yeah, give yourself an attack bonus. Why not? If you've got Living Weapon, you'll definitely want to take this. Moving on to Powerful Guts. When you succeed at a check to reduce your Sickened condition, you decrease it by 2 instead of 1, or 3 on a critical success. This feat isn't as good as you think it is. Yes, Sickened is one of the most debilitating conditions to be under. However, it's also extremely rare. And most of the time, you're only going to get Sickened 1 anyway. So you won't use this a ton, like at all. Do not recommend this one. Then we have Transposable Compliance. And we don't need healer's tools to administer first aid or treat wounds. We can do so by taking 1 point of damage for administer first aid, and 2d8 damage for treat wounds. We do so by using our physiology, and we gain a bonus to medicine checks using our physiology. Healer's tools actually cost a lot, 5 out of your 15 gold to start, so being able to heal without them is actually pretty darn good, even if you do have to take damage to do so. Sadly, this doesn't really work on you, but it is very effective for healing allies. And lastly, at level 5, we have Uncanny Awareness. You gain motion sense as an imprecise sense. This can be very good. It is an imprecise sense, so you won't be able to tell where exactly someone is, but you can get a pretty good idea. This can be very helpful when combined with some class feats. And now we get to level 9 feats, starting with Captivating Curiosity. You can cast Enthrall as an innate spell once per day. It's a good out-of-combat feat, but you're not going to use this very much in combat. Fascinated is really not that good of a condition in combat. It can be good out of combat though. Next is Coating of Slime. Your unarmed attacks now deal persistent acid damage on a hit. Persistent damage is okay, but most of the time it does have its problems. I do not recommend this feat, but it does do acid damage, which affects a lot more creatures than bleed does. Area compression allows you to move through tight spaces as if you were small, and you can move at full speed while squeezing. This can be really good for healers, as it's hard to get to a healer who's in a tight space. But otherwise, you're going to want to take something else here. Embodied Dragoon Subjectivity allows you to cast Featherfall and Phantom Steed as innate spells once a day each. These do have cosmetic changes, but the spells themselves function as normal. Gripping Limbs gives you a climb speed, which can be good, but really depends on how often you need a climb speed. And finally, for level 9, we have Slip the Grasp. For one action, if you are grabbed, immobilized, or restrained, you can attempt to escape. If you succeed, you can stride or make an unarmed attack against the creature you escaped from. If you fail, you can attempt to escape a second time. You don't increase the multiple attack penalty until after you've taken both actions. This is an insane feat. Great action economy, Spellcasters do not want to get grappled, so this is a fantastic way of getting out of that situation. This also can be good for melee fighters that use unarmed attacks, like monks. This one is probably the best feat here. Moving on to level 13, we have Augment Senses. For one action, you gain the following benefits. You can't be flanked, and you can scan for creatures in a 60-foot cone or a 30-foot burst. You can also seek objects in a 15-foot square. This is another really good feat. It's useful in combat when being flanked, and you can find creatures and objects more easily. Highly recommend this one. But we have another feat that's just as good with Spew Tentacles. You can cast Slither once per day, but the tentacles recognize you as part of them, so they don't try to grapple you even if you're in the area. This is great for any character. If you're melee focused, you can take advantage of the off guard condition even if you're in the area and melee attacking, and you don't have to worry about getting grappled by your own spell. If you're a range-focused character, enemies will have a hard time getting to you because they first have to get out of the grapple from this spell. And that's the Flesh Warp Ancestry done. If you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like, and you can subscribe to the channel for more Pathfinder 2e teamwork content. You guys can also leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of the Flesh Warp Ancestry. It really is the best way to support the channel. And of course, stay tuned for more Monster Mash videos either here or on 20-Sided Adventures channel. You can also talk about monsters or anything else with me and other viewers on my Discord server. And if you want Monster Mash videos early, you can check out my Patreon page. Links are in the description. You can also check out this video on screen for even more Monster Mash content. Thank you guys so much for watching, and remember, teamwork is vital. It helps us solve problems.